Right, it's me, it's Mickey Nobody here again with Chaos Under No Ties. I am joined by CJ and Darragh of Horrenda today. How the fuck are you guys doing?
How you doing, sir?
Hi.
Good stuff, good stuff. So, why are you here? What are you doing here? Why have we got you on our channel? I don't want to call it a radio station anymore because we're not a radio station, but why are you here today?
We're here for blatant self-promotion, nothing else. We got a 4-day UK tour coming up next weekend, maybe in a few days, depending when this comes out, but we are here to blatantly plug it. It's going to be 18th in the Hull, the 19th in Oldham, 20th in Bolton, and 21st at the Cosmic Void Festival in Islington.
Lovely stuff. I hope to hear that multiple more times, and you need to break your record after last time being on with us.
Yes, I forgot how many times I shamelessly plugged the tour that we're going to be doing on 18th in Hull, 19th in Oldham, 20th in Bolton, and 21st in London.
Awesome stuff. And so it sounds like you're excited, or is that just you having a bit of an ADD moment?
Little column A, little column B.
Darragh, how about you? I don't think I've actually had much of a chance to chat to you in the past. I think it's always been CJ I've chatted to. So first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's CJ's kind of just had more availability than I did, so it's good to be on the show.
Awesome stuff. So obviously you guys were over here for a couple of shows with Froglord earlier on in the year, and then I think I saw you last at Hammerdown Festival. You guys are, I'm assuming you guys are still under the Hammerdown management team. I'm guessing it's those guys that have helped you put this all together, or is this something that you guys have put together yourselves?
Kind of a combination of both. Hammerdown helped us out, but Cosmic Void we kind of set up ourselves, so it's a combination of both. The same with the last time we I know we've done these longer runs. It's kind of like been a mixture of both. So Hammerdown have really good to us as well, but it's nice to have some connections as well in the UK.
Of course. So is there anybody on the upcoming dates for you guys that you guys are particularly looking forward to playing with, or is it just going to be a case of shaking a lot of new hands, seeing a lot of new faces?
Yeah, it seems to like there are new areas for us as well. Like obviously we were in Hull a little while ago, but we've never really done the north. We haven't done Manchester, that area in general. So that's really cool for us. We always hear it's a big hotspot for a lot of bands. So yeah, I think it is going to be a case of a lot of new faces, a lot of new bands that we get to check out. So it's genuinely very exciting for me.
We did meet one of the bands earlier this year when we were playing Aberdeen. Someone came up to us, introduced themselves. Turned out they were the front person of Maria, I think they're pronounced, and they're
Yeah,
going to be
Mario.
supporting us in Bolton, I believe.
I have their long sleeve. It's actually badass. Their merch is class.
Awesome stuff.
So they're going to be making all the journey from Glasgow, I believe, all the way down to Bolton, which I think is like a 4 or 5 hour drive.
Ooh, blimey. Oh, but I say blimey for you guys. It's going to be a lot longer than that, I suppose. So I shouldn't. Really...
That's what cans are for.
Good
God
call.
help anyone who has to share a train with us. It's going to be a bad time.
So, is there anybody on the lineups that you guys are particularly excited to play with? Have you managed to check many of the other bands out?
I think Maria is the one we're kind of the ones we most made ourselves aware with. Their name of Lucha, I think it's still the band we're playing with in Hull. I was checking them out beforehand.
Yeah, still a really
They're the band where the logo is like 5 lines straight in a row. Like, talk about 3 branch metal. I'm sorry if I'm getting your name wrong, but have a proper name, lads.
Says us.
Or at least a proper logo, you know, one or the other.
Yeah, one or the other. Or yeah, or some kind of symbol. I mean, once you have one of the 3, I think you're good. You know, but no, like so when we go play with new bands, I like to go in semi-blind because you know, you can listen to a band like it even happened with us. The amount of people that came out with us and were like, oh, I hear like up until I think it was even the Altus, after Think on Your Sins, it kind of stopped. But before that, people were like, oh, I listened to you guys before, and you know, it's not the music on Spotify doesn't capture your live essence at all. And yeah, so with that, with a lot of bands that we're playing with, I'm like, no, I kind of want to see what they're like first, and then go back and check the songs out because you're like, oh, they played that one's really, really good. So that's kind of how I like to go into shows now. But yeah, and it's pretty much because the amount of people have come up to me over the years and said that it's a lot. But it did stop after we released Think on Your Sins, so thank God for that.
Well, I mean, it definitely works out for you guys. I'll say, as a member of the audience that day, at Hammerdown, obviously, you guys, I think you were the only black metal band of the weekend, and people were quite tentative in the early stages, being like, oh, well, how's this going to go? Is it all going to be doom and gloomy? And it's safe to say that by the end of your set, everybody was fully into you guys. There was nobody having a bad time. CJ gets off the stage and has his zoomies in the mosh pit. And everybody walked away really, really chuffed that they got to saw you that weekend. And I think it'll be the same. Well, I'm assuming it will be the same at all of these 4 gigs coming up. For anybody who isn't aware of Horrenda, yes, they are a black metal band, but they are a black metal band that has a hell of a lot of fun on stage, have a fantastic stage presence. And if you're not already, get out to one of the shows that CJ's going to tell you the dates of.
Oh, you're talking about 18th at Hull in Dive HU5. We're talking about 19th of September in Bangtop Tavern in Oldham, just a little bit north bank of Manchester. Are we talking about the 20th in Alma Inn Bolton? Or are we talking about the 21st of September in O2 Academy, Islington, the Cosmic Void Festival?
Go. So yes, as I say, don't let your expectations guide you as such. I mean, if you're one of these black metal fans that don't like fun, maybe skip it out. But I'd like to think everybody enjoys a bit of fun at the shows. And if nothing else, there are other bands, so you can always avoid Horrenda if you really want to. We're not paid to.
Just pay for a ticket. The money goes towards regardless of not whether you stay for us or not.
Well, look, what I'd say is that's not always possible. If you're going to avoid us, don't be there, because Aaron will jump on you, or CJ will crash into you. So. Yeah, you can't really avoid us once you're in the room.
That's true.
Yeah, it could be interesting going to the Cosmic Void Festival, because looking at that lineup, there's a lot of like very stoic Cavolt type bands, and we're just going to run in and say, "Let's all have a good time now, lad."
So obviously you guys re-released some stuff a few months ago now, I believe. I think we had one of the first plays on the Black Witch project a couple months ago on the old home for us. How's the process going on the next lot of tracks? Is there much happening there, or are you guys just focused on getting the live shows done?
It's a struggle. It's a constant struggle. But the thing about it is, it's like it's like when you go from releasing your follow-up, like I Think on Your Sins was a bit of a struggle, because we changed 2 band members and 3 studios to get that done. With this one, because we're like, this year's been so busy, we've been playing so many shows, like we really have been constantly going. And look, I wanted to play more shows, and the lads are like, no, we just can't. And I was like, okay, so I would have kept going, like straight out, like, and CJ's face was hell at all. But the downside of being that busy is writing kind of takes a back seat, right? Because you're showing up to rehearsal, you're playing songs, you're trying to get everything tight, and then you're doing the shows, and then you're traveling, and it just keeps rolling. So doing that kind of stuff is very difficult. So we've had to, basically give ourselves time, and that's what we've done for the rest of the year now. So we have one new song that's pretty much done and recorded. We're going to probably re-record that. But we have, 6 or 7 songs that are like somewhere in pre-production, and basically that's what we're going to do now in between these shows into next year, is really get the new album locked down and recorded. Look, because the thing about it is, as much as and it's a learning curve, as much as we might like to do all the shows that we can, and I'm terrible for it. I mean, CJ would tell you, I would play anywhere. I'll just be like, let's do it.
Right? I'm the one who has to figure out the logistics of getting us there.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm just like, we'll play 15 shows in 2 weeks. Why not? And that's just kind of the way it is. But when you're trying to then write, perform, record, and practice, and then also have a life as well, you need to find that balance out. So that's our plan now. We've recently posted all the shows we're doing for the rest of the year, and then we're going to take a little bit of a break to really record and get the album done. And look, what I will say is, what we have in works is probably the best Horrenda stuff so far, and it's very, very collaborative. Again, like, CJ's been in the band. Having him write is very interesting. Having our new drummer write as well is really, really good. And we kind of had to readjust how we do that. It's not just one guy comes in with all the song, with a full song, and then we kind of hack it to bits. Now we're like, let's write collaboratively, and that's a much better way to write. But it's not the way we've been doing it for years.
Awesome stuff. So on that note, actually, as well, then, so Darragh, am I right in thinking you're one of the founders of the band as well?
Well, I was. It was my band. Like it was a solo project initially, and then Aaron showed up one day about a year into it, and he never left. And then we just kind of then CJ was in it for like 2 weeks, and
Yeah,
then we
no,
went through.
it was
Was
funny
it like
because
3 weeks?
yeah. Well, what happened was I think you had scheduled a gig with Aaron, and that was going to be your first gig with Aaron.
Yeah.
But then I think your bassist and your drummer dropped out,
Yes.
so you got me and Tom in to fill in just for the one gig, and that's
Yeah.
all it's going to be.
Yeah.
So it's funny that I was like, okay, guys, good luck, guys. Hope it works out with the new singer. Then I come back several years later, and he's far more established in the band, and suddenly I'm the new guy.
Yeah, no, it's you know it's kind of funny how that happened, but like, yeah, I was the founder of the band, and then it just kind of became a live project with me and Aaron for years, and we accumulated a bunch of different members, and eventually we found our lineup, and it's been really. I never want to do that again. I'll be honest with you, but at the same time, it did kind of work out because everyone who's in the band really wants to be in the band, and we all have the same shared vision. And it is really funny that CJ showed up again. And if you listen to the Red Room sessions, that's CJ playing bass, and now he's back in playing guitar, so it's hilarious.
And a much better bassist now.
Yeah, but I mean, Keith's a much better bass player than most people. I mean, he's fantastic. So that all
Yeah,
worked out in the end.
he's not like a metal bassist, i.e., a metal guitarist who was kind of crap and settled for the second position.
It's true.
He's an actual bassist.
Yeah.
As a metal bassist, I feel insulted but also called out. So
how dare you insult me with something so true?
Exactly. So again, Darragh, continuing on that, how different is the initial vision to Horrenda that you came up with compared to what it has become now? Has it always kind of stayed the course to your initial vision, or has it evolved over time into something maybe even completely different?
No, I mean, like when Horrenda started, I don't even remember playing the first Horrenda albums. It was purely just a moment in time captured in for those first two releases, and they are very depressive, suicidal, black metal kind of stuff. That's what they are. But once I started being like, actually, I kind of want to play shows, and also people like this. Then I shifted into more what Horrenda was, or what would become around Neronian times. And that when you hear that album, still, we've just kind of took that as a starting point and then went forward. So yeah, the very early stuff, no, completely different. But from Neronian times on, that's kind of what Horrenda has been and evolved into. And then like, yeah, we've adjusted, we've changed, we've more kind of written for a live audience from time to time. But it's always kind of stayed Horrenda. You know, it hasn't changed what it was, because what we write about the overall show, it's still the same, even if we bring in some more death metal elements or some more prog elements or whatever. It's still black metal, you know, but it's not cavalt black metal. It's more like, I call it blackened extreme metal. You know, that's what we are, and that's kind of what Horrenda evolved into. So yeah, like it's going to happen when you bring in new people. And I've always been of the mindset where, like, look, I'm not going to tell you what to play. I can, but that's really boring. I want you to come up with something as a musician yourself. And once you do that, that's when you open up the floodgates for it to evolve. But if you don't evolve, you die. So it's important to do that.
Exactly that. And CJ, seeing as you ended up playing a couple that early show as well, how different have you noticed the band being between you doing that show and then coming back a couple years later? Did it feel any different to you getting involved at that point?
It's a 9-day difference, because when I joined, the style was kind of very jammy sort of style, kind of very simplistic song structures and chord progressions and whatnot, where you could kind of just sit in and jam with the session. Then by the time I came back, and I would kind of watch them evolve from the sides. Okay, to go and see them, like, going like, oh, yeah, they're getting a lot more intense now. Aaron is becoming a front man. Like, he went from someone who was like very shy, reserved on stage, to completely bare chest, screaming at people's faces, running off the stage. And then when I got they asked if I was interested, I kind of I need to sit down with Dialtis, need to sit down with the new tracks, figure them out. I was like, okay, we are onto something here. We are really onto kind of a behemoth sort of feel by that point, where it's like, okay, you can hear the structure in the song. You can really hear they're really thinking about it, which I really like. Like I like bands who think about song structure, who like to think about how the song is put together. Because you hear so many bands who just play one or two riffs and they said, "Oh, it's a decent riff, it's a good song." No, you really need to think about song structure to make it work, and that's what I liked about these guys.
And like it's funny because the early part of Horrenda, because we were going through so many members, because you have like when you start black metal, well, when the band started, black metal in Ireland wasn't really a thing. There was obviously Behemoth and a few others, but it really wasn't like a thing. So people, it was a novelty. So you get some people come in to play a show or to fill in for some time. And you know, me and Art have always said when Horrenda does finish or whatever, we'll write the book, and there's some mad stories which we could get into. There is literally one about an ex-bassist trying to assassinate Justin Bieber. That's true, not a joke. That's true. It's not a joke. And other mad stuff like that as well. So that's all I'll say on that. But because we were going through so many people trying to teach them the songs, they had to be very, very straightforward because you're trying to teach a guy who may or may not be there in a week. And then, you know, so once we started like locking in members who would stick around and we're on the same page, that's when we were able to kind of grow the songs out. So I'm always of the belief, you know, do a simple song and then make it complicated on top. And that's kind of our secret sauce, where the song will be simple, laid out well, and then have interesting parts on top. But yeah, like that's the change. Like once our old drummer joined and then Keith joined, that's when we really started locking in. And that's the change that CJ's talking about.
So is there much?
Hi, Joey.
He's bloody mental. I'm trying to mute the mic on my side to make sure we don't get him, but inevitable, I'm sorry. So do you guys find there's much competition in the way of other black metal bands in Ireland, or are you kind of few and far between and quite close-knit?
We don't see it that way. I mean, like there is kind of like that split where it's like there is the Covult thing and they do their own thing and then we do our own thing. But at the same time, and like I don't see music as a competition. Particularly in Ireland. Ireland's small. Ireland's very, 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 very small. So the result of that is there's always kind of competition in that way. And I'm like, look, if you guys want to stay in Ireland, that's cool. But that's why we're making the jump over to the UK into Europe, and that's where our focus is. So, you know, we love coming home, we love playing shows for everybody at home, but at the same time, it's small. It is what it is, you know. And so I just like not only me, we as a band made a decision about 2 years ago to be like, right, we can stay here and compete for scraps, or we can try and make a run of it, and that's what we're doing. So no, we don't see it as a competition. I mean, if anything, it's support. Be like, you know, there's a couple of black metal bands that we will play with, and that we really like to see, and they're doing great things. Like their last stop are obviously one that anniversary or another one, and it's like, you know, they're. I've even said to them, I said, look, play your shows here, build yourself, and then move, because that's what you need to do. And you know, if you're like, no, this is my turf, okay, cool. We're gonna go to the UK. We're gonna go to Europe. See you later. So
Also, it's just kind of a case of like, it's not competition, because if bands want help, like learning how to get abroad, we're happy to share contacts or share tips.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to Tristan from Cell Games the other day. He was asked like, how do you book drums onto a plane? I was explaining the process to him. Explaining like, you know, budget things you'd need to think of. Okay, does it make more sense to fly? Does it make more sense to just get the ferry or some other combination? So like, we're not in competition. We're all working with each other, make stuff happen.
Yeah, and you know, it's like, because obviously since we've been around a while, but CJ and myself have been in the scene for a very long time. You don't want to be a dickhead, right? You know, it's like, why would you do that? It's like I just never understood that. I never understood not helping people, particularly in that way.
As we learned the other day, being a dickhead and doing dickhead things get you very quickly called out.
Yep.
We're not going to give them credit, but someone did something
No.
very, very stupid in the scene, and they've been very quickly ostracized.
To be fair though, funniest thing that is, it's hilarious, the comments that have come out about that, and you guys can do the research on it yourself. But look, as I said, Ireland is small, but it's also so small that if you are a doucher, you're going to be exposed as it. So yeah, we always try to help younger bands or bands that haven't played abroad yet to do it if they want to. But at the same time, we're bringing a band called Following the Signs, who I have to say, I have to call out. Those guys have worked just as hard as us. They've gone through a very similar journey as us, and they're fucking awesome. So I'm really excited to one, play with them in Dublin, and then also take them on tour to Poland. And they're just great, So that kind of thing where a rising tide raises all ships. I don't believe in this whole let's pull everyone down and fuck you. And no, that's an asshole, right? Ireland's too small for that. You need to, make the jump, but at the same time, you can help other people who want to do it as well.
And in the same vein, if there's any smaller Irish bands who maybe just haven't got round to asking, you might be hesitant. What would you say is the kind of one biggest lesson that you guys have learned in the time that you've been doing this now?
So I'll go first, and then CJ, you can jump in. Get on the same page and take the risk. Just do it. Because if you don't do it, you'll just be waiting. And that's all I can say. If you're not all on the same page, have the conversation.
I would definitely say if a band wants to break out, really have some success, either get yourself a car or get the budget to get a driver, because that's going to be the first thing that holds you back a lot as a band. If you can't just get yourself around easily, then you just need to have contacts or someone who can help you. Like with the UK, really we wouldn't have gone into the UK if it wasn't for Hammer Down, who could ironically hammer us into the UK. Hammer down on promoters, get our foot in the door. Like, I think we had done like a few UK shows before, kind of working with them, but they're the ones who kind of like got us a lot more work in the UK, so we could now say our name is very small part of the scene now.
Yeah, management, actually, that's a very good point, CJ, and sorry for interrupting, but like, yeah, if you can get yourself a manager in the locality where you want to go, that really helps. The downside of being in Ireland, and there's many, but the big one is we're an island, right? We're an island, and that's just it. No matter if you're north or south, you're on the island of Ireland. So, you can't, like, even though it's 40 minutes to get to Liverpool or Manchester, something like that, you still have to get across there. So yeah, if you can get yourself a manager or get yourself involved with someone who books shows over there, that's a big one. But before all of that, before you do any of that, you need to have that conversation and go, guys, do we want to do this? Do we want to be a band that goes to the UK? Do we want to be a band that goes outside of Ireland? Because again, like, there's so many bands that just don't understand how big of a jump that is. And unless you're on that same page, it won't work. Like, I mean, look, there's 6 of us. There's 6 of us. And yeah, I'm not going to say there isn't conflict, but at the same time, we've had the conversation. We're like, lads, it's tough. It's going to be, it's going to be a rough couple of days, but we all want to do this. And then that's it. And we go in with United Front, and that's how we do it.
I'll just say to the UK public, if you're seeing an Irish band playing your local pub, you need to understand, it's not just a bunch of lads just jumped in the van and drove over. Like, if you're coming from Scotland or Southern England or wherever, if it's an Irish band, they had to make a proper effort. They've had to invest a good bit in. So they fucking believe in themselves, and they've been working hard. So you can bet there's a good chance they're going to be bloody good.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like, again, if you see an Irish band on a tour, it's an island. And I know it's really goofy to say, but like, there is that psychological thing where you're like, okay, we need to either go to the airport or get a ferry or like that. And it's not just a small drive, it's like, going to Cork for us is far. Ironically, going to Cork from us is farther than going to England, but it feels less of an investment because you're on a bus,
There we go. Sorry, I got to unmute my microphone there because the dog was being a noisy git in the background. You guys could hear him, but hopefully everybody else hasn't, so that's all good. So, that almost brings us up to the end. So, CJ, I will get you to rattle off those dates again for us.
Oh, the dates. Oh, you mean 18th of September in Dive HU5 in Hull. We're going to be doing 19th September in Old Tavern. Let's do it again. Friday, 19th September, Banktop Tavern in Oldham, just a little bit north of Manchester. The 20th of September, we're going to be in Alma Inn in Bolton. I believe it's one of the first black metal events ever happening in Bolton. I've been told by the promoter. And of course, this is what I've just been told.
What?
And then
Okay.
we wrap things up nicely. Our last UK show of the year is going to be playing Cosmic Void Festival in the O2 Academy in Islington, September 21st.
Awesome stuff. And what can people expect to see at the merch table for Horrenda this year, or is it by online?
No, so at the moment, nothing.
Oh,
However,
We're hoping to change that by the time
hopefully
this
we'll
airs.
change that in the next 2 weeks. So, because like, look, again, I have to thank our fans both in Ireland and worldwide and the UK. You guys sold us out last time, right? You bought everything, so we had to go like literally. We have no merch now at the moment, but what we do have is we have a bunch of new merch coming. We have really cool shirt designs, so we'll be fully stocked up for the shows, and then obviously they'll be going up on our Bandcamp as soon as we land. But yeah, look, one of the things that we always try to have is a good selection of merch for everybody, and the fact that you guys keep buying it, we'll keep making it. So if you're going to the shows, please do come over and pick up some merch. You will not be disappointed, I guarantee it.
And the ever controversial tagline, "True neurodivergent black metal ain't going anywhere." I'll be on the next merch line.
I was about to say, I saw those got discontinued, or is that just because you're out of stock for the moment?
No, they didn't get this. No. So we don't we try not to reprint. That original one was like a one-time only. Then we released another one, so it hasn't been discontinued. It's just our back print now.
I see, cool. And if by some miracle you guys don't have merch, where's the best place for people to go and get some ordered?
Bandcamp. So you can either search Horrenda on Bandcamp, or if you go to our website, it'll link out to it there.
Fantastic stuff. And I'm guessing tickets are available on your website, horrendaofficial.com?
They are. You can link out to the tickets there as well.
18th, I believe the tickets are there. Cosmic Void, they're going to be selling it on their own website. The 19th to 20th in Oldham and Bolton. You don't need a ticket. They're free in.
Oh, even better.
But if you want to come up to us and just give us a tenner of your own money for no reason whatsoever, we'll take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that has happened in the last Dublin shows. Someone we were selling shirts for a discounted price. He's like, "No, keep the money." I was like, "Okay." So if you want to do that, that's cool too. I'm not gonna turn that down.
Awesome stuff. Well, then that does just about bring us up to the end then. So what I'll do now is I'll just ask CJ to rattle off those dates one more time, and then I'll ask Darragh to introduce the song you'd like us to highlight for you guys.
18th September, Dive HU5 in Hull. 19th of September, Banktop Tavern in Oldham, just north of Manchester. September 20th, Alma Inn in Oldham. And I'll do that again. September 20th in the Alma Inn in Bolton. And then O2 Academy, Islington in London, September 21st, Cosmic Void Festival.
And thank you for having us on the show. And we're going to play our song Come and See, of course, from the Come and See tour on the album Think on Your Sins.
Here we go.